Well, thank you guys for jumping on today's podcast. We have Trina Parnell on the call today. She is a master at the brain and helping people fix some different things around that. Trina, glad to have you here. Tell us a little bit about what you're up to, what you do. How can people understand what you do and your successes here?
Yeah, thank you, Nathan. And I don't know if I would call myself a master, but I do have a deep passion for it. And what I do, I'm a mindset and strategy coach. And I got into this business just through my own struggle with mental health. I had been struggling with mental health since I want to say I was like 12 or 13. And it got to a point where it was a really big struggle in my life, in my late 20s and early 30s. And from there, I had this journey where I really wasn't okay with medication. I didn't want to take anything for it. I did go the route of, entering that possibility. And just at one point in my life, I said, you know what, I can't do it this way. I didn't like that concept. So I decided I was going to figure it out. And from there, I kind of found this world where you can really, or we all really have more power over our entire lives than we give ourselves credit for, than we think that we do. And I became obsessed with the mind and how it works and why we do the things that we do and how people get successful and how people are struggling and why they're struggling. And so from that's kind of what I do is I help people understand their brain, understand the way that they think and the patterns that they have created in their lives, that may have gotten them in places that they are not happy with, as well as rediscovering and rewiring the brain to adopt the patterns that will get them success or get them out of those challenging times.
Because we all have like limiting understanding or limiting beliefs, sometimes ignorance of like how everybody has challenges with overcoming things, with past trauma. Like, tell us some of those things that you've dealt with personally that helped you kind of see some of that, and what are some of the things that some viewers can take away with understanding about why they should think about this and get coaching or thinking about mental health or going down that road of really kind of growth and understanding of their potential and success.
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing for me, and it's a common emotion or a common thought in everybody is, am I enough? Or I'm not enough, depending on, how certain you can become in that. And it's so easy for us to get hard on ourselves and come from this place of beating up on ourselves. And that's what I did for a majority of my life. And for the better part of growing up, I thought I was broken. And I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't know how to go about it. I just thought I was this outsider in the world that just didn't fit into anything that anybody else was doing. And I felt alone. And the worst part is feeling alone when you're around so many people, and I was surrounded by people that loved me, but I just felt alone and I felt isolated. And it was a really, really challenging thing to even just understand because, you don't really understand how you can feel alone when you have all these bodies around you. And then it's easy to say, okay, well, there's something wrong with me. And I think the biggest thing is understanding like those thoughts that we have, they aren't true. They're a story that we've created. And these stories, they come from our past. They come from instances, anytime that you have a significant emotional experience, whether it is a a really exciting emotional experience that is, super awesome, or something that is traumatic, your body remembers that. And there's a part of you that remembers it. And the way that our brain processes, we quickly have to make sense of it. And because we move at this fast speed and because we're going a mile a minute, we quickly generalize, distort, or delete information in order to make sense of it. And if we don't take the time to sit there and go, okay, I need to process that event, I need to really sit there and like understand what happened, we can easily label it as, oh, this happened because I'm unlovable. This happened because nobody loves me. There's something wrong with me. And really, it's a lot that's not the case.
Yeah. Bring us on
And
that journey a little
and
bit
I
of like some of those things that you've dealt with like in the past. I think I remember you saying like in 2019 was a line in the sand moment for you. And from there you were like, all right, I got to figure this out. Tell us a little bit about that. What was that looking like?
Yeah. 2019, I was struggling very hard. I had social anxiety. I had PTSD. I wasn't able to go. Like, I still remember I had a friend's birthday, and I lived in downtown Toronto. I'm Canadian. Lived downtown Toronto, and I still remember there was this bar. It's right by the CN Tower, and I remember standing outside of the CN Tower, just like my body in full shock. And like I couldn't move because I didn't want to go in and see my friends because I created this story that they hated me. And I remember going in there, and one of the girls locked eyes with me, and I just started crying, and I had to run to the bathroom. And, when those instances happen and you get easily triggered over and over again, there comes a time where you have to say, okay, something's not right. Like, this isn't how I want to live my life. And so from there, I'm not somebody who believes in medication. Advil for me, like I don't take Advil normally. Back in my drinking days, I wouldn't even take Advil. I'd be like, no, you deserve this hangover. Like, you don't get Advil. So like medicine for me was not a thing. And for me to go to a doctor and be like, I need antidepressants, that's a big, that was a big thing for me. And for me, it's just like having a medication alter my mood and alter my behavior. That was more scary to me than me being able to control it. But I couldn't control me. And so I was like, okay, I need something. So they prescribed me antidepressants, and it's a drug called clomazepam, which is for seizures. It's to help control seizures, or they also administer it for severe panic attacks. And I just let these things sit on my dresser. Like I let these medications sit on my dresser just so I could think about it. And one day I had this panic attack, and so I took the medication that was for that, and it's supposed to be an instant release or relief for it. And I remember it knocked me right out. And the next day I woke up terrified about what these pills meant for me. So I threw them out, and I was just like, there has to be another way. Like, there has to be another way.
That created you on this
And
path for some wild thing. Like how long did that take for you to kind of dig that yourself out from that?
well, from there it started. So that was 2018. And then I just started reading books, and Brene Brown was a really big piece to this puzzle, as well as Tara Brach. And, I was reading them, and Mark Manson, he was also like, I just started reading personal development books, trying to figure out what's wrong with me, what's going on. But the crazy thing was, I still remember 2019, there was just this day, it was like a spring day. I was walking down the road, and in that moment, I was like, 2019 is going to be my year. And I just made this decision. I made this declaration and I just like decide. I have no idea what came over me. There was nothing special about this day. There was nothing special that happened, or like I just remember this voice in my head being like, this is my year. And it was literally in that year that I started to, pick myself out of this hole that I felt like I had dug myself in. And after studying the mind and all of this, it's just crazy how that all fits up, because really the decisions that we make, we might not think like, oh, okay, like, I'm just talking to myself, this is going to be my year. But like literally everything in that year just turned around for me.
And then now
And
you're
so,
helping so
yeah.
many people right now with, getting out of these things. What are some things that if someone's stuck in that mindset or that, that spiral of all these not real beliefs or the struggles that someone are dealing with, what are some like practical things or steps that you would say and suggest that we should take for someone to kind of walk through this journey on this other side that you're at?
The biggest thing is journaling, because,
Hmm.
when we get into these moments of, and, call it journaling, call it thought writing, whatever you need to call it. I know, but when we write down our thoughts, you are able to then go back and look at them from a third person perspective. A lot of the time when we are stuck in those emotional holes, it's because we are in a first person position where we're deep in them, right? So, one, when you write it, you're allowing yourself to, first of all, express how you feel, which, even if it's not how you want to feel, it's really, really important that you get to express it. So whether you're expressing it through writing or you're talking about it, or, any sort of creativity, like musicians and artists and all of this, they are able to express some of these traumatic events through their art. And so I really, really recommend, trying to figure out a way how to express what you're going through so that you can get it out of your body.
Yeah, I use that
And
as
then,
a good journaling things for myself too. It's definitely helped me process and think, or even
yeah,
not even knowing what to write, but I'm just continuing to write, and then that helps kind of open up. More have you found like
yeah,
roadblocks sometimes where like journaling is almost a new habit you have to create. Like some people don't they're not
absolutely.
even in it, but it's so good when you do.
Well, and I think too, if shame is something that people struggle with, writing down your thoughts and feelings is going to be more difficult. And that's normal, because you've created a story that those thoughts and those feelings are wrong. So you don't want to bring truth to them and you don't want to bring them out. But, the thoughts and the feelings that we have, they are part of our experience. And the only way that we can rewrite and rewire our brain in a way that is going to be something that we're excited to move towards is if we bring awareness to what is actually going on within us without judgment, and just like holding space for that.
What are some other things? I didn't mean to cut you off there. What are some other things and
No, no.
helpful ways of growing out of this?
Um, I mean, for any sort of, I guess a big one would be check your environment.
Yeah.
The people that you spend time with, because, we're all walking around with energy, and you see it all the time. If people are sad, you notice it. And it's easy to, especially like for people who are empathetic, they can easily adopt that energy. And it's the same thing with aggressive behavior. It's the same thing. So you want to make sure, like, when I was dealing with everything that I was going through, I was in Toronto. It was a very fast paced city. Everybody is go, 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 very, very impatient. It's a bit of a rat race there. And, my life really started to change dramatically when I took myself out of the city.
Yeah.
and I was able to breathe. So, whether it's a workplace, whether it's at home with your friends, and I'm not saying like, oh, like cut your friends off and leave them and go
Right. Right.
that way, but when you take a look at, what life do I want? Who do I want to be? What is it that I'm looking for? What kind of people do you need to hang around in order to manifest that? Like, who are the people that already embody it because they're doing something right that you might want to learn from them? And just being around their energy is going to help.
How do you find those groups? How did you go about doing that? I mean, just moving doesn't always equate that, but what would you suggest for people as they, if they're like, all right, I know I have some issues, I got some things that I need to work through from my past and really kind of get a grips on like how to move forward with this. Journaling is definitely something you're suggesting to kind of process your feelings, your
Mhm.
thoughts, your shame, trying to write down and pinpoint some of those things to process through. You're also saying to change environments a little bit. If that, I mean, that could be abruptly as like moving, like as much as you did from
Mhm.
a whole location. I mean, sometimes it could just be the house or environment too, or cutting people off in your life or adding new people. How would you say like adding to those environments? What are the simple steps that people can take? How can they find these groups? How would you suggest getting a new friend group or environment that you're saying here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is, first of all, and would also go in line with it, is like when you are trying to create a new life for yourself, when you're trying to create that new path, you need to have a vision. You need to have an idea of where you're going, right? Like if you decide, hey, I need to go to the store, well, you need to get specific about what store you're going to so that you can actually get the directions and where you want to go. And it's the same thing for anything that you want in life. A lot of people are like, well, I want my life to be better, but it's not specific. So it's like, how better? Like, what does that mean? Do you want to have more money? And if so, how much? Do you want to have a career that you love? What does that mean? Like, how would you love your career? Um, I want to have a fulfilling relationship. What does that mean? Right? A lot of the time, we're so vague or afraid even to ask for what we want specifically that it's not able to come true. Because, you say, okay, I want more money, you find $1, well, guess what? You just got more money. Your brain's going to be like, okay, good job. We did it. Right. So you do really need to get specific. And so once you can start to create this vision, and, I always recommend taking a look at the career, the relationship, the finance, the family dynamic. There's a whole wheel of really categories that you should be paying attention to and drawing them up. And once you draw that up, the more clear you become on your vision and the more committed you become to it, the easier it's going to be to realize what environments are going to help that and what aren't,
That's good.
right? Because sometimes we get really caught up in, well, I love this person, or I don't want to leave because I've been here for so long, I'm comfortable. When we can create something that is outside of ourselves that we're moving towards, we can start to clearly see what we need to say no to and what we need to say yes to. And that's
That's
a
not
big
always
part
easy
of
to
it.
do, too, to say no. Most of the time, people say yes to just about everything.
And it's a skill, like for some people, including myself, like I had to teach myself how to say no. Because I had this weird story that no equaled rejection. And it was like any no. So I would do anything in my power to avoid the word no. And I would do pretty much anything to make sure that I wasn't making other people feel rejected. So I didn't want to say no. And so I was trapped in like this weird world where I didn't want no to exist. And like, it's a skill. You do need to practice it. And it's really hard if you're not good at it. But you can do it. You can do it.
What are some of the like best pieces of advice that you've ever received that's been helpful for you in this journey, even in growth? Because I mean, a lot of times people have different dreams and visions about their life, right? And there's the facets of like the
Hmm.
life wheel in a sense of like, hey, I want a better relationship, or I want to be fit, or I want to be a millionaire, or, et cetera. I want to be a good business owner, or what, down the list of everything. I know that's an open-ended question with a lot of things, but like specifically for people with needing help with overcoming trauma or like mental health, journaling, environments, looking at also like some advice that you've got to get on the other side of this so that your trajectory, looking at a goal that you can attain and reach, like what were some advice things, some books, programs, courses, what are the things that helped you with some tipping points on some of that?
I mean, I'm a Tony Robbins girl. I will always, always endorse him. He changed my life 100%. So he has a program called Unleash the Power Within. Um, that is absolutely phenomenal. But if you are looking for like my favorite piece of advice, which is, I believe, I don't know if it's a direct quote from Tony, but it is inspired by him, is do not make it about the goal. Make it about who you need to become to achieve the goal. A lot of the time we get caught up in this goal or idea of a thing that we want, and we can lose ourselves in that. I had that problem when I was growing up. I wanted to fall in love. I used to be that girl where they were like, oh, she's a little bit crazy because like I watched the rom-coms and I was like, yeah, this is real. And like I got intense. I was definitely that girl. And I just wanted love. I just wanted love so bad. And I started sacrificing myself for that love. Whereas if it's like, okay, I want love, I want this certain relationship, who do I need to become in order to get that relationship? Who do I need to become in order to get that love? It turns into a very different goal because one, you can control that goal. It is something that it is only you can do, right? If I want a partner that's understanding and supportive, who do I need to be in order to call that in?
Yeah.
I can control that. Whereas if I'm just like, okay, I want to fall in love with somebody who's understanding and supportive, I'm just looking at every guy who's understanding and supportive in any sort of aspect that I can decide and be like, oh, okay, like this could be the one. So, and this goes for your finance, this goes for everything, like your family life, your career. And the biggest belief that we can have is our identity. Like who you believe that you are, what you believe that you are, is going to shape your life far more than any belief that's outside of yourself. So once you can start to say, okay, this is the goal I want, I'm going to who do I need to become in order to achieve that? And then working on that, the power that lies within that and the freedom that lies within that is absolutely magical.
Wow. What are some other things that we should know about you, or things that you've accomplished, or things that you would suggest for people? Help us understand some more of that.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to follow me, they can follow me on Instagram. I am going to be creating a course. It's in the works right now. I'm hoping to have that out by September. And in terms of, you know, I I always want to let people know like every part of your journey is your own, and we all have seasons, right? And you might be in a season right now where you feel like it is dark and it is cold and you don't see a light. And I just want anybody listening who feels like they're in that moment of their life, seasons end.
Mm.
And you just have to keep pulling through. And I promise when you start to create, even if it's like, you know what, tomorrow is going to be a better than today. And if you keep doing that every day, you'll start to see that light. And the beautiful thing about mindset work and the beautiful thing about everything that we do with our mind is once you start to realize that you can achieve your goals, like the moment that you achieve a goal that is a personal development goal, you start to kind of recognize what is possible. And when you can start to break down the barriers of kind of like the concepts of what the world has put on us of, you know, this is the type of job you should have, and this is the type of life that you should have, and this is the path that you need to follow through life. Once you can start to break free of the world's expectations of you and watch yourself achieve small goals, they can become bigger. And then as they become bigger, the world of possibility opens up for you, and you really, really can start to see that new light. And that is just like, that is what I want to give to people. I want to people to understand, like, you are in control of your life. You're in control of your destiny. And all of it starts with really believing in yourself, believing in something bigger than yourself, and deciding that you are worth it to go after.
That's so good. Yeah. So many times they look in themselves in the mirror and they're like, I just want to be jacked. They look in themselves in the mirror and they're like, I just want the end, right, in mind, right? And just understanding that the
Yeah.
process of growth is just a journey, right? And that's where it's like it's good to flesh out your
Yeah.
ideas from journaling, from, having a sounding board with good people that are on the other side of that are healthy in mind or soul or finances, or getting mentorship, or looking at growth, from the perspective of actually defining some of those goals too. Like you're saying, it's not just like, the pipe dream. It's really kind of defining, hey, who do I need to become to kind of achieve that type of level of growth, and that momentum is just, it compounds as you take those little
Yeah.
steps. And I do know, like, I remember looking at this a lot of times in my own life with mentorship or growth, and I always had like in a staircase, analogy. I always thought that I was always looking up, and I was always like almost envy in a way of like comparing myself with other people. What I realized is that
Right.
required me to completely stop and be paralyzed to even look up, and then realize like I just need to
Oh,
take these little stop, like small little steps. And as I'm doing that, I'm creating momentum, and I'm actually not stopping, paralyzing myself. So I love, I love that, because it does take a lot of momentum for growth in so many ways. And
yeah.
so I appreciate you being on today and just kind of clarifying, so that they're on the other side of this. If you want to be strong, not only in your life but also in your mind, and also like you have to sometimes deal with those demons in the past, and you have to deal with them. You can't just like move on without dealing with those things and really cutting off those dragons that are weighing you down. So, thank you, Trina Parnell, for being on the call today. And so people can follow you, said, on Instagram. What are some other things that people can do to follow you and connect with you as well?
Yeah. So Instagram, my handle is Trina Paper. Because my initials are TP, so instead of toilet paper, I'm Trina Paper. And then I have a podcast that I have to reboot up, but they can take a listen to the first season on Spotify. It's called The Shit They Should Have Taught Us in School by Trina Parnell. And I do have a website if people want to get in touch. It's trinaparnell.com. And, if they want to sign up for my newsletter, if you're interested in the course that I will be launching in September, feel free to shoot me an email, send me a DM, or you can sign up. And yeah,
Awesome. Well, thanks so much. You guys heard it. You know where to find her and connect with her. But that will be it. We'll sign out for today.
thank you, Nathan.